everyone. I'm Tiffany Wong with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. China has singled out several Taiwanese businesses it says are working with the military. Taiwan's government and experts say Beijing's goal is to intimidate local firms. Cadence Quaranto reports.
Chinese state media is targeting 5 Taiwanese companies who they say have helped a unit of Taiwan's military that Beijing accuses of inciting separatism.
还有一些为新战大队提供支持的企业。
A social media account affiliated with Chinese state broadcaster CCTV released this video, along with an article on Chinese messaging app WeChat, accusing the companies of helping to make websites, develop data operation systems, and complete other projects for the Taiwan military's psychological warfare unit, which China says has long plotted to incite separatist activities. The response from Taiwan has been swift. Its defense ministry saying the unit's activities comply with the law. The ministry accuses China of spreading false information and urges Taiwanese people not to spread it further. And Taiwan's Mainland Affairs Council, which handles relations with China, adding that these actions are part of China's cognitive warfare efforts meant to divide and intimidate Taiwan's military and its business sector. One expert agrees, saying intimidating businesses is a big part of China's goal.
当他一旦这样的一个指控的时候，势必希望制造出一种寒蝉效应，让台湾的相关的企业在未来不敢去协助相关单位的一些请求。我想这是他们的一个目的啦哈。这个东西我想未来它只会更加的变本加厉。
This all comes after China earlier this month released the names, photos, and ID card numbers of 18 people it said are core members of the psychological warfare unit and offering rewards of around $1,400 for tips leading to their arrest. At the time, the Mainland Affairs Council warned Taiwanese people against sending any information.
如果有民众，台湾民众配合中共所谓的悬赏通告，提供资料，那依情节可能涉及国安法、国家情报工作法、刑法等等，那应该都是7年以上的有期徒刑。呼吁所有民众不要觉得说这个为了一己私利会拿到一点小小的好处就配合中共。
Still, the Chinese state media account claimed it got tips about these Taiwanese companies from people inside Taiwan, though they gave no evidence. It's unclear what the fallout for these businesses might be, or if the allegations of collaboration with the military are even true. But what seems clear is the message China is sending, one warning against any type of what it calls separatist activities. Klein Wong and Cadence Quaranta for TaiwanPlus.
Over the weekend, the main opposition Kuomintang voted in a new chair, with former legislator Li-wun set to take over the party in November. Leslie Liao has more on how her win is being received.
Reactions to the main opposition Kuomintang electing former legislator Li-wun as its new party head are pouring in. They include everything from congratulations to caution. Li-wun was elected KMT chair on Saturday evening, winning just over 50% of the vote. Chinese President Xi Jinping on Sunday congratulated Cheng in his role as head of China's Communist Party. China's government, which claims Taiwan as part of its territory, has cut off high-level contact with Taipei since the ruling Democratic Progressive Party was voted into executive power in 2016. But Beijing maintains friendlier relations with the KMT. Xi's message to Cheng says he hopes the two parties can improve ties based on opposing Taiwanese independence and upholding the 1992 consensus. The 1992 consensus is controversial because it says Taiwan and China are part of the same country, with each side having different interpretations of what that country is. China often uses it to assert its claim over Taiwan. The KMT echoed Xi's sentiments in a response statement. Taiwan President Lai Ching-te said Monday that he will never accept the 1992 consensus. In a radio interview on Monday morning, Cheng expressed willingness to go to China and meet with Xi Jinping to open dialogue and de-escalate tensions in the Taiwan Strait. But according to an expert, she might wait.
可是如果他能够2026年胜选，2028年胜选的话，他认为说会有更大的民意能够这个代表台湾跟 对岸的国家领导人呢进行这种双边的对话，甚至不排除，我觉得说不定会有什么样的和平协议的签订也不一定。
On the other end of the political spectrum, the ruling DPP has urged rational governance and caution. It said that China had clearly interfered in the KMT chair elections and that the KMT should take Taiwan's national security more seriously instead of being complicit in China's plans. The DPP says that Cheng is Beijing's preferred candidate because she advocates for a more China-forward policy. And it seems that Cheng is not shy about expressing her willingness to work with Beijing. An influential KMT member, Zhao Shaokang, says that she must push for deeper reforms. Cheng officially takes over the KMT on November 1st. Hank Xu and Leslie Liao for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's defense minister says delays to the country's first homemade sub are due to challenges in getting its parts to work together, not problems with its technology.
我想，现在我们的报告中已经说明了，就是说没有碰到技术的瓶颈，但是呢，有关这些装备的这个进行调教，需要给我们一些时间，所以我相信我们还是有能力。
Gu was reporting to Taiwan's legislature about Haikun, the country's first domestically produced submarine. He said delays are relatively common when developing prototype vessels, citing examples from the US and Europe. Haikun was originally scheduled to complete surface trials in September, followed by delivery to the Navy in November. The contractor responsible for building it could face fines of around $6,000 for each day the ship is delayed. Nvidia has unveiled the first wafer for its newest AI chip series, Blackwell, to be made in the USA at Taiwan chip giant TSMC's plant in Arizona. The company says the move strengthens U.S. chip manufacturing and aligns with President Donald Trump's push for tech leadership. But the wafers still need to be sent to Taiwan for final packaging. TSMC's Arizona plant will produce advanced 2, 3, and 4 nanometer chips for AI and smartphones. It's part of a planned $165 billion investment by TSMC in the U.S., the largest foreign investment ever made in the country. The expansion has raised concerns among some in Taiwan about the risks of moving cutting-edge production offshore. The National Development Council has announced new plans to make Taiwan more competitive globally. NDC Chair Ye Junxian delivered his first policy report since taking the position, outlining plans to strengthen key industries. Those include semiconductors, AI, defense, cybersecurity, and next-generation communications. The plan also highlights investments in local talent and promoting more balanced growth across the country. Addressing concerns over skilled workers leaving Taiwan as chip production shifts overseas, Ye said the government will continue to develop and retain talent at home.
那我们这一次的方式跟他们其实有点不一样。我们虽然是整个产业链是复制过去的，而不是说整个切然后移到美国那边去，所以整个性质上面来讲会有很大的一个差异性。
Ye also said Taiwan will help cultivate semiconductor talent for the global market, developing professionals needed by countries around the world. Tropical storm Fengshen has scraped past Taiwan, bringing heavy rain and in one area prompting evacuations. The storm is also hampering a cleanup effort still underway almost a month after a typhoon caused deadly flooding in eastern Taiwan. John Van Trieste has this report.
Heavy rains are back in eastern Taiwan as the edges of tropical storm Fengshen combine with a seasonal monsoon. The alert level here is high. It's almost 1 month since the edges of a typhoon tore through, overloading a nearby dam and unleashing a deadly flood. At least 19 people died, and 5 people are still missing. Fearing a repeat, officials have evacuated 900 people from near another dam on the east coast, even though they say there's no imminent danger of it overflowing. Residents have been given time to get their belongings and then get out.
原则上，我们就是先预估就是5天的时间。那我们现在就是很积极的，就是在安抚他们的清理，希望在这样的一个危急时刻，大家都能够共体时间。
But not everyone wants to go to the evacuation center. Over 30 people have chosen to set up tents in a nearby basketball court to wait out the storm.
家里的不方便，小孩子会哭闹的那种，影响到别人，不好意思。
They'll have a wet wait, with rain forecast for the area through the end of the week. The storm is also causing headaches further south in Guangfu Township, where the impact of last month's fatal dam disaster is still easy to see. The mud and rubble have been piled up, but not yet totally cleared. At one spot, 300,000 tons of muck are still just sitting there. Officials have acted to make sure the rain doesn't start washing it all away.
第三站制场的淤土量对峙很大，那现在有台风外围环流的影响，可能会有一些降雨，所以我们事先做一些预防措施，主要是铺设不透水布。
So far, officials monitoring the rainfall and infrastructure meant to stop flooding say everything is going well. But after the shock of last month's disaster, it's safety first on Taiwan's storm-hit east coast. John Su and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Tropical storm Fengshen has swept through the Philippines bound for China and Vietnam. The storm brought heavy rain to the country's center over the weekend. Residents in parts of Capiz province were evacuated on rubber boats on Sunday as floodwaters began rising. The storm is now over the South China Sea and is expected to make landfall in central Vietnam on Thursday. 2 people were killed when a Turkish cargo plane skidded off a runway at Hong Kong International Airport and crashed into a ground vehicle, pushing it into the sea. Authorities are investigating why the Boeing 747 cargo jet veered off the tarmac. The plane gave no distress signal, and runway conditions were deemed safe at the time. The plane's 4 crew members were rescued, but 2 security workers in a ground vehicle died in the collision. Airline representatives are headed to Hong Kong to assist the investigation, and operations at the world's busiest air cargo hub will not be affected. It's the deadliest accident at the airport in 25 years. French authorities are scrambling to recover priceless royal jewelry stolen in a daring heist at the Louvre on Sunday.
To be completely honest, this operation lasted almost 4 minutes. It was very quick. We have to say that these are professionals. Organised crime today targets art, and museums, of course, have become targets. Because France, as you know, is a country of heritage. It's a country with objects of heritage with great value.
Authorities say 4 suspects used a vehicle-mounted lift to access a second-floor balcony, then cut the glass with a power tool. In a matter of minutes, they grabbed 8 pieces of 19th-century French royal jewelry from the Gallery of Apollo in broad daylight. They then fled the scene on 2 scooters. Art historians say the stolen pieces are priceless cultural heritage and are essentially unsellable.
Ces pièces sont trop connues.
These pieces are too well known, too publicized. It's like when the Mona Lisa was stolen. You see, the thief at the time didn't realize the scale of his act. And in fact, they found the Mona Lisa later under his bed. It was completely unsellable. So here, the pieces are unsellable, except that they are made of precious materials. So gold has increased a lot in value in recent years, having doubled in 10 years. Diamonds are a fairly safe haven, but we are at 10, 20, 100 times the intrinsic value of the objects, since there is considerable historical value there.
In response, Taiwan's National Palace Museum said it would step up patrols and inspections to prevent similar incidents. Israel and the U.S. say a ceasefire will resume after a new round of airstrikes on Gaza killed dozens of Palestinians. Israel says it struck militants at several sites across the Palestinian territory in response to an alleged attack by Hamas that killed 2 Israeli soldiers. At least 26 Palestinians, including civilians and children, are reported to have died from the airstrikes. Aid to Gaza was also briefly cut off. Hamas denies it was involved in the attack on Israeli soldiers and blames Israel for violating the ceasefire. It's the first major test of a U.S.-brokered truce that went into effect last week. Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, we leave you with images from Nigeria, where rescued sea turtles are being released back into the wild. I'm Tiffany Wong. Take care and see you next time.